Since the beginning of this year, Donald Trump's public statements have once again dominated headlines, sparking intense debate both inside the United States and across the world. His remarks have not only outlined the direction of his administration, but have also reignited long-standing concerns about executive power, international norms, and domestic stability. One of the most widely discussed moments came when Trump openly suggested that his use of presidential power is constrained not by international law, treaties, or global institutions, but by what he described as his own personal sense of morality. Critics argued that this rhetoric signaled a rejection of the post-World War II international order, while supporters praised it as a declaration of American sovereignty and strength. Foreign policy analysts warned that such language could unsettle allies and embolden adversaries, particularly at a time of heightened global tension. Trump's comments on Latin America further intensified scrutiny. In multiple statements, he signaled a willingness to expand U.S. military action beyond airstrikes, explicitly raising the possibility of land-based operations against drug cartels operating in the region. He framed the cartels as an existential threat to U.S. national security, blaming them for the fentanyl crisis and mass illegal immigration. These remarks drew sharp reactions from neighboring countries, especially Mexico, where officials warned that any unilateral military action would violate sovereignty and risk regional destabilization. At the same time, Trump issued blunt warnings to Cuba, suggesting the country faced severe economic consequences if it failed to reach an agreement with Washington. He linked Cuba's vulnerability to broader U.S. actions in the region, particularly disruptions to Venezuelan oil flows. The language was unmistakably transactional, reinforcing Trump's long-standing approach to diplomacy: leverage economic pressure first, negotiate later. On the defense front, Trump floated one of the most ambitious military spending proposals in modern U.S. history, arguing that the world has entered what he called dangerous times. He justified the proposed expansion by citing global instability, renewed great power competition, and the need to project overwhelming force. Supporters framed the proposal as a necessary deterrent, while critics questioned its cost and warned of escalating arms races. Domestically, Trump's rhetoric surrounding elections and political power remained a central flashpoint. He warned allies that a loss of congressional control in upcoming elections would almost certainly lead to renewed impeachment efforts, framing the political contest as a battle for survival rather than a routine democratic process. This messaging energized his base but alarmed opponents, who argued it undermined public trust in democratic institutions. Election integrity also returned to the forefront after Trump reiterated his opposition to mail-in voting and electronic voting systems. He claimed these methods were vulnerable to abuse, despite repeated court rulings and audits rejecting widespread fraud claims. Legal experts noted that election administration largely falls under state authority, making such promises difficult to implement, but the statements nevertheless reignited a national debate over voting access versus security. Immigration rhetoric became another major source of controversy. Trump escalated his language when discussing migrants from specific regions, portraying immigration not as a humanitarian or economic issue, but as a security threat. He tied immigration directly to crime, terrorism, and social decay, language that advocacy groups condemned as dehumanizing. Supporters, however, argued that his bluntness reflected frustrations shared by many voters who feel ignored by political elites. Taken together, these statements paint a clear picture of Trump's governing posture this year: aggressive abroad, confrontational at home, and unapologetically centered on executive authority. Whether viewed as decisive leadership or dangerous overreach, one thing is undeniable. Donald Trump's words continue to shape national and global conversations, often setting the agenda before policy actions even begin.